Hello and welcome to the Random Wrestling Review. This is our local to global series, another episode coming at you, and you will remember in our last episode we got very close to bringing you RWR Reckoning. We booked the entire show and left you at that point, which is something has happened over the course of the series, including in the episode before last as well, similar sort of thing. So hopefully we can try and get that out of sync with that situation, because I find it quite unsatisfying, as I'm sure you do. So, without any further ado, let's get on with bringing you RWR Reckoning. I'm just going to actually quickly, before we do that, check. We're fine. We're all good. Only 4 matches on this one. Now, that is a consequence of the issue we had with the women last time, and we'll go over all that after we've booked the show. So, let's go into it. So, in front of 300 people, once again, in the Marshall Center, a great segment here between Shawn Stasiak and CM Punk. It begins with Shawn Stasiak coming to the ring and demanding a rematch for the title. He says that he defeated the champion but stands here without the belt because CM Punk went and got himself disqualified. CM Punk then comes out and says that rather than disagree with Shawn Stasiak, as would be the done thing for these types of situations, he is instead 100% in alignment with the man who challenged him for the title 2 weeks ago. He says he wants a rematch as well. He says he's not satisfied with retaining the RWR title in that way and wants another match against Shawn Stasiak. So segment rating here of 65, with Stasiak and Punk both cutting promos asking for a rematch tonight. So Sharmell Sullivan, the general manager, comes out and she says that she agrees with both CM Punk and Shawn Stasiak that the manner in which the Northwest title match ended at the last show is not what she wants to bring to the Random Wrestling Review, but what she does want to bring is fairness, and in the interest of fairness, she is going to book a rematch for tonight. However, she says that one of the reasons why the match was a problem last time around, one of the reasons why it ended in the way it did, is because the referee went down during the match, and she needs somebody in that match who can not only physically withstand the pressure from what CM Punk and Shawn Stasiak will bring, but also someone who is not going to allow any issues and anybody else to get involved in the contest. And so she says she has turned to Dave Batista to act as special guest referee for tonight's match between CM Punk and Shawn Stasiak. Neither man appears to be particularly happy about that situation. A segment rating here of 42, not as good as the previous one, but still a very good segment indeed. So then to the first match of the night, it's Chris Harris versus TJ Wilson. Another great performance from Chris Harris as he picks up another victory here in 7 minutes 47 seconds by pinfall. Segment rating of 46. Harris did a 49 in-ring performance. TJ Wilson at a 31. Still a little bit under where I'd like TJ Wilson to be at this stage, but in general a very good match. And then the next match is another angle. So we're just about to have the Falls Count Anywhere contest, which will see 2 members of the New Rebellion against 2 members of the original Rebellion. It's Ace Steel and Chemo against Barry Buchanan and Billy Kidman. Sharmell Sullivan comes out to the ring and says that she has banned both Phantasma and Rex King from ringside for the following contest, which will be under Texas Tornado Falls Count Anywhere rules. A segment right here, 24, where Sharmell Sullivan just wasn't as good as she had been earlier in the night. But then we have that Texas Tornado match, and what a match! A segment rating of 51 as Ace Steel and Chemo take on Barry Buchanan and Billy Kidman in this one. And the heels get the victory when Billy Kidman pins Ace Steel with a shooting star press, following interference from One Man Gang. So Phantasma and Rex King are both banned from ringside. Phantasma obviously has aligned himself with Ace Steel and Chemo, whilst Rex King is with Barry Buchanan and Billy Kidman. But One Man Gang came out and made the difference and helped Buchanan and Kidman to victory in this one. As I said, a segment rating of 51. Chemo did a 47, Billy Kidman a 47, Ace Steel a 46, Barry Buchanan a 41. Very nice indeed. After the match, One Man Gang lifts the arms of both Barry Buchanan and Billy Kidman in victory as they celebrate a win over their hated rivals in this one. Then the semi-main is Buddy Wayne versus Darren Drozdov in as their grudge continues between the two. A segment rating here of 41. Drozdov wins the match in 8:57 by pinfall, illegally using the ropes for leverage. Buddy Wayne is definitely starting to see. He's past his peak, put it that way. He's on the decline now. An in-ring performance of 39 from him. Darren Drozdov, though, 31. This is one of his best performances so far in the company, and getting the victory won't have hurt him either. And then the main event for the Northwest title, it's CM Punk and it's Shawn Stasiak. It's another very good match, a segment rating of 54. I think that might be one rating below their previous match. Dave Batista is the special guest referee for this one. And CM Punk wins with a surprise cradle in 15 minutes and 2 seconds when Shawn Stasiak and Dave Batista get into a bit of an argument. Batista pushes Stasiak as Stasiak goes for a punch, and then Punk manages to roll him up and get the victory for defense number 7 of the RWR North West title. CM Punk did a 53, Shawn Stasiak a very consistent 47 in this one. During the match, though, we also had arguments between Batista and CM Punk, and other arguments between Batista and Shawn Stasiak, so there was nobody getting along in this one, but CM Punk comes out on top. And that is the end of Reckoning. And a overall rating of 53, a very good show. CM Punk and Shawn Stasiak, a big part of that. But let's not forget the Texas Tornado Tag Team match, which was very good. The opening segment between Stasiak and Punk, which was excellent. In fact, all of the matches were good here. Even the Drozdov Buddy Wayne match, which was the least impressive of the lot. In terms of our speech, well, CM Punk is once again complimented on a good performance because he just has to be. He's that good at the moment, and Chris Harris too is in that place. I think we're going to give the other one to Darren Drozdov, which I think is exactly who we may have given compliments to last time, but he once again improved his level of performance in this one, so that is where our praise goes to. And that is Reckoning, and a show that I think I had to get through, to be honest, because you'll remember on our last episode there were all kinds of problems we had in terms of plans I had on the board and they didn't take place, issues I'd had in the previous show because of things I didn't I didn't book properly, including the end of the CM Punk Shawn Stasiak match. But ultimately where that leaves us is with the Northwest title still in CM Punk's grasp, 7 defenses now of that belt. You'll see that was as good, nearly as good as the last one when Shawn Stasiak beat CM Punk by DQ, although the game doesn't think it was by DQ. It was by DQ. Yeah, CM Punk on the road to being perhaps our most successful champion of all time. Who knows? But the previous record was 10 defenses by Dave Batista. CM Punk's already up to 7, so he's going really well. What we're going to do next? So the first thing I'm going to do is remove Heart Incorporated as a stable. They finished up in the last couple of shows. They basically disappeared after Bruce Hart decided he was done with being in front of the cameras, and therefore that's him leaving. And then Chris Harris told everyone he was done with the Heart. So effectively, that stable no longer exists. It's been completely dissolved. And then we will have to make it. We've had to make a decision about the women. Now I got a bit of a. What we'll do is we'll progress to the end of the current month. But I got to talk to you about this now because I got to be honest. After recording the last episode, I was a little bit downbeat. I was a little bit uncertain of my future with this series, and I know the next milestone we're trying to make is 100 shows, and I was we're really close to that, but I was quite close to just deciding not to carry on with the series because I was just getting to the point where I was feeling overly comfortable about this roster, and then the women thing was going to be a way to freshen things up because I feel like the roster's been quite steady. I mean, some might even say a little bit stale in the last 5 or 6 episodes, or at least that's how I felt anyway. And the women was a way to freshen things up. And then, of course, we couldn't do what we wanted to do with the women on the last show, and so I thought, oh god, I don't know where we're going to go next with this series. So the first thing I had to do was decide whether to pursue the women's roster in the Random Wrestling Review or not, and I can now reveal that I've decided not to pursue that avenue. And so I'm quite happy in some ways that we didn't get to do the first women's match, because I think it would have taken us in a direction that would have been really difficult to make a success because of the lack of women available to us. And that's the main reason I've decided not to pursue that. It's just there are not enough women wrestlers available to me to put together a decent roster. So we're not going to do that. We're going to have to release, therefore, from the roster, Gillian Hall. But I won't do that just yet, just in case something comes up and I think, oh, we can use her for this. So I won't do that just yet. I may do it after the next show, depending on what takes place. But I can also reveal that I then took stock of where the roster was, and I've got to a point now where I had to reassess where everyone was going and make sure I knew what was coming next, at least what the kind of high-level macro plans for the promotion was, at least for the next 3-4 months. Because I've got to be honest, for the last 6 months of the save, I've kind of been letting it just play out a little bit more than I normally would. Like, I've usually got a general sense of the direction I'm going to be going in for the next 6 months, and then figuring it out as I go along. But the last 6 months, I've just felt a bit like I'm, really since the end of the CM Punk Ace Steel feud and CM Punk becoming champion, I felt a little bit like we're allowing the game to we're just going through the motions a little bit, or it felt that way a little bit. So I kind of took a step back, and I've now landed on a direction for the company over the next 2-3 months, which I'm happy with. I've also written down a list of names of people that may leave the company, 4 of which I think will almost certainly leave the company, and another 4 that might do or have a chance of doing. This is the rankings as they stand, and this is one of the things. Like, look at all the matches that most of the wrestlers have had. Yeah, sure, there's a couple of people who've had a handful of matches, and again, I should say this is the rankings as of before the show we've just finished, whatever it was called. What was it called now? I can't even remember. Who cares? Retribution, something like that. And so this is, and look at all these matches, like 81 for Stasiak, 92 for Buddy Wayne, who's 67, Chemo, 69 for Charlie Haas, 75 Batista, Anderson, 78, Billy Kidman, 64. Just loads and loads of wrestlers having had loads and loads of matches. So, as I said, I've got a list of people that are almost certainly going. I've got a list of people who could be going, and there are 8 of them from this list. So I'm really looking to cut this back so that I can make the space for a number of new acts. Now, I don't know how quickly that's all going to happen, but it will be happening over the next few months. Before we get there, though, we've got Fighting Spirit next. Before I do that, I'm going to look at our finances, because this is the journey we've been on. So $6,000 in profit for January. Now, that is due to bigger ticket sales than we've ever had before, bigger sponsorship than we've ever had before. Not the merchandise so much. The worker costs were really low, though, which is interesting. I don't think we'll see them be that low very often. In fact, we haven't seen them that low for over a year. So that was the lowest worker cost we've seen for over a year. But the production cost now $8,500, though that's £1,000 less than last month. That's because we didn't have any upfront costs for January. I am wondering whether now is not the time to just go with the production upgrades and make this episode. I think the thing is, if I do this, the episode will not have another show in it, and we may even get to the point where we've booked our next event, which is Fighting Spirit 5, by the way, in 7 days' time. I don't need to bring any. I don't need to bring any new members of the roster in for that. What I can reveal, though, is due to this situation, so Stasiak having just lost his title match and going down to 0 points, Billy Kidman will face CM Punk in the main event of Fighting Spirit 5 for the Northwest Championship. The tag team belts will also be on the line, as Red Alert will be defending against the Calgary Connection. And as you imagine, Dave Batista versus Shawn Stasiak will be a match. Those two have been in a feud in the past, and they will be kind of revisiting that feud as a consequence of what happened in the main event between Stasiak and Punk of the last event. So I think we're going to go for it. I think it's time for us to take the plunge and up the production values to the point where we can get those TV deals. Now, this does mean $10,000 per month, which we're not making that much profit yet, but I think it's time. We've done it. We've upgraded. We can undo that. It was only $250 we paid for it, so we can undo that if there is a problem financially. But that now allows us to go to broadcasting and get the deals, I think. So search, will negotiate, yes, yes. Now there are 5 different TV companies that will negotiate with us, most of whom I was aware of. So Coin 6, KTXA, the Sunshine Network, WBKI, sorry, and WCIU TV. I was all aware of those ones. So we're going to go to one of these two because these are both covering the Great Lakes. So let's just, in fact, can we do our home region first? We can. They're very small, interestingly, so they're a bit bigger than the others. So let's get these on board. New deal for events. Okay, so we can't get that time slot, which we should expect. So we'll go late night. They're not willing to offer us a deal that long, 6 months. Now, can I get more revenue from this? Yes, I can, but I can't get 30%. Can I get 25%? Yes, that's fine. All of that's good. Minimum quality show expected is 47. I actually think that's going to be really difficult for us to live up to. So I might try and go to the graveyard. Hang on, what was it? 47. I mean, we do tend to do that, don't we? You know, we occasionally fall below that, but only occasionally. I'm tempted to go with that, to be honest. Yeah, let's take the plunge. Will they take 9 months? Yes, they wouldn't do a year, but they'll take 9 months. So, proposed deal, yes. We are on TV. We're going to be on TV. The first show on TV for the Random Wrestling Review will be Fighting Spirit 5, which is amazing. So, now let's go get our Mid-South deal, KTXA. New deal for events. We looking at late night. See, late night 53. So we'll go for the graveyard, since we're not very popular there anyway. They would expect us to pay. So 20% for that. Can we get 9 months? Yes. So graveyard for us, but we are on KTXA as well. Sunshine Network for the southeast now. New deal for events. Let's try and get 25%. Let's try and get 30%. Let's try and get 35%. Right, 30% then will do us. Let's go for the late night. 36 is fine. And they're happy with the 1 year. Would they go 2 years? No. But 1 year, that's cool. So that's the Sunshine Network in as well. And one of these two. Let's find out. So they're both tiny. Let's see what they might give us. New deal for events. So late night would be a 41, 9 months, 30%. Can I get 30%? Yes. So let me just write this down because I can't remember all that. 9 months, 41 late night, and 30% to company. I'm aware that I'm probably speaking in riddles because I'm not. It's sometimes hard to see everything that's written on the screen when you're watching these videos, so apologies for that. What will WBKI give us instead? So I'm looking for. Can't get 35%. Can I? Default. Can I get normal? Can I get 30% to company? 9 months. Late night. 41, exactly the same. So I'm just going to go with WBKI because we're here right now. So we have signed the deal. We have got 4 networks now that we're on, and in 4 different areas. So that is really exciting. At last, we have got. In fact, we were small in Mid-South. I didn't realise that they were that big. But anyway, yeah, we got small in the Mid-South, tiny in the Great Lakes, tiny in the Southeast, and very small in the Northwest. But those companies have agreed to do TV deals with us, and they will all get Fighting Spirit 5, which is big time, in 7 days' time. And that I wasn't expecting to do today, but we have gone ahead and done it. We'll see what that difference that makes to our finances the next time, I'm sure, or even after our next show. But I guess we plow on. What I'm going to do. And before we go any further, let's just make sure everybody's available for Fighting Spirit, because this is a big one. This is going to be a big show now. It's probably going to, well, it's almost certainly going to be the most viewed show we've ever done. So with those 4 networks on board. So yeah, we're gonna promote this next event with those 4 TV companies. What I will do is look between episodes as to what else we might be able to get ourselves, depending on where we get to in terms of our popularity. Because I definitely took down more names than that the last time I looked through it all. We definitely had, certainly one in the southwest I was expecting, and possibly one in the Great Lakes. No, not another one in the Great Lakes. Sorry, certainly one in the southwest I was expecting there and didn't come up. So we'll go back and look at that in between the episodes, I think. But the fact is, we've got 4 regions now watching us on TV, which is going to be a really big boost to the Random Wrestling Review, in the first sense that we can really now expand outside of our borders of the northwest of the US. It's just the same shame that all of the regions that we've got TV deals outside of the Northwest are further away. Like Mid-South is the Texas areas, and Southeast is like Florida, etc. And the Great Lakes, I think, is where AWA was traditionally done. Although I might be wrong on that. I'm not the best when it comes to the regions of the real life regions of the game. But yeah, exciting times. Really exciting for this company. This next event, I think, can be very switching gears a little bit, sorry. I think this next event could be really decent too. I'm looking forward to bringing you that. One thing I was going to look at was WCW's last show, Clash of the Champions, which just happened, which I saw in the news notes but didn't in the end look at. We're going to look at it now because I was just going to do it. So Clash of the Champions here. Scott Hall defeated VK Wall Street in a cage match to retain the Worldwide title. So WCW continue to struggle, and the fact that they're booking IRS in the main event against Razor Ramon for the WCW World title in 2002 is got to be seen as a major, major concern. And you got Ric Flair and Randy Savage here in this 6-man tag match. They are in a lot of trouble. Let's be very, very clear. So what are we doing next? Don't think we need to worry too much. We've got everything we want there. So it's on to Fighting Spirit 5, and we are again going to be in the Marshall Center. Still out with injuries, Brock Lesnar. We need to set the broadcasters for the first time. So let's just use them all, because why wouldn't we? This is going to be big. Cool. All 4 of our broadcasters are going to have this show. Very excited indeed. Right, okay. So let's start with the first part of the show, which is going to be an angle. And it's going to see, I know what we've done, which we shouldn't. Oh no, major problems. I just realised we needed to hire a commentary team. We can probably do it. We might get lucky here. Keith Hart can be a colour commentator. I guess Sharmell could be. Let's see who else we've got. Let's see who in the roster can be a commentator for this show. It just crossed my mind we didn't have an announcer for the show, and because I hadn't been expecting to do a TV deal on this one, I hadn't made a note specifically to do it. Can we get Sharmell to do the announcing on this show? Why can't we click this? This is really annoying. In fact, I can't seem to click it for anyone. Shawn Stasiak, I can. A woman could do some commentating. We haven't got an actual announcer, which is a big problem. And there's no announcers on this either. So the announcing quality is going to bring this whole show down. Let's make that clear right away. Probably can't bring Keith Hart in anyway. He's not happy with us. And Bob Backlund, I'm assuming, is going to be very expensive. $360 for the show. I mean, it's just one show, right? I feel my bubble has burst. My balloon has been burst. I was all excited, and then realised we hadn't thought about the fact we now need commentators for the first time in the history of our company. Let's have a look then. Let's have a look at announcing and see if anyone can do this to any quality at all. Okay, there's some. There is a fair few. Any of those not? Most of them are workers. Well, Bruce Hart could do it, couldn't he? I mean, if he's at that level, Where is his? Where is his announcing? It is 17 to 62, so it could be really bad. I mean, that's what we're saying. We want somebody with announcing quality with a low floor, don't we? But it looks like actually we're not going to get that. Um, Mark Henry, wow. Rex King, 20 to 65. We've really chubbed ourselves a bit here. I think we're going to have to, for this show, we're going to have to use. Can we change it here? I think for this show, we're going to have to use Sharmell as an announcer. Not that she's any good at it whatsoever. And we are going to use Bruce Hart, I suppose, as the colour. So let's do that. Sharmell and Bruce. Can I save this? It's not letting me save it. Wouldn't you know? Is that because Sharmell Sullivan's not a commentator? Right. Well, she can. I assume she can do a lot of the. Let's just see what we can do here. Oh yeah, they're in. They're in. Okay. Okay. Well, let's just plow on with this. It's not going to be the best for announcing, and that might bring the whole show down to a point which I'm pretty unhappy with. But we will remedy that for our next TV show. Anyway, we're going to start with Billy Kidman, and apologies, we are going to get back to exactly where we usually get back, which is having booked at least some of the show and not delivered. But we're going to start with Billy Kidman, and he's going to introduce the one-man gang as the fourth member of the new, in fact we'll make that menace, of the new rebellion. Barry Buchanan's going to be there, and so is Rex King. So this is, Billy Kidman introduces One Man Gang as the latest member of the new rebellion. Now, obviously, the rebellion was a four-man troop historically, and so this would appear to mean that the new rebellion have got a full complement now in their stable. We're just going to add him as well to this. Cool. So he is now in as well. Then we get the first match of the night, which is going to be a six-man tag match. It's going to see an odd team of Buddy Wayne and Chaz Warrington and Glenn Ruth. Buddy Wayne in the Headbangers, against a even weirder team, I would suggest. Chris Harris, Darren Drozdov, and Mark Henry. Glenn Ruth still carrying that injury. I think we'll give the heels the victory in this one. I don't think that is controversial at all. And who should we have win? Let's give it to Mark Henry. Pins Chaz. Pinfall finish. Regular match. In they go. Six-man tag match. Then, after this, we're going to have another angle. This time it's Ace Steel comes to the ring. And he speaks to Buddy Wayne. And Ace Steel asks Buddy Wayne to join the rebellion. Oh, can't spell it. And Buddy Wayne declines. But there's going to be a whole bit of a promo here. I might even make that 8 minutes, where Ace Steel basically is asking Buddy Wayne to join the rebellion and help him get rid of the new rebellion, and prevent them from, doing what they are trying to do now, which is to effectively dominate the Random Wrestling Review. And Buddy Wayne is going to decline on the basis that he doesn't agree with Billy Kidman, doesn't like Billy Kidman or the rest of the New Rebellion, but he's also never had any time for Ace Steel in his original Rebellion. Then he says that to him, Rebellion or New Rebellion, pretty much all the same, he's not interested. So that's what's going to happen in that angle. Then we're going to have another match, which is going to be Barry Buchanan against Phantasma. So this is a Rebellion versus New Rebellion match, and I think we'll make this 10 minutes, and we'll have Barry Buchanan win this one. See no reason why we need to go the other way. Barry Buchanan getting the victory. One more thing before then we go in terms of the booking of the show, because we have run out of time. Dave Batista and Shawn Stasiak is next. Dave Batista obviously nearing the top of the rankings, and Shawn Stasiak angry with Batista over what happened at the last show. But Batista gets the win here. Storytelling match. Pinfall finish. So Dave Batista will beat Shawn Stasiak, and then after the match, Dave Batista is going to cut a promo. And Batista says he's fought for over a year to get a title shot, and he's nearly there. So he's going to say basically he spent the last year, over a year now, since he lost the title, trying to get another title shot at the belt, and now he's so very nearly there, and he's basically putting everybody on notice that he wants that belt back. And I'm afraid, whilst we've still got some of this show to book, that's all we're going to do today. Apologies, I'd hoped we would avoid this, but the whole TV thing came up and we decided to go with it. So make sure you join us next time. Best way to do that is to press the subscribe button and continue to follow along with the series. If you've enjoyed today's episode, give us a like and we'll see you next time.